Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Melvin and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. Are you hyped for Legion? In this video I'll be going through my reasons why I'm excited for the upcoming expansion, and in this video the footage behind me is going to be primarily the beta and PTRM, so no flashy editing today, boys. This is a real talk. So why am I hyped for Legion? Well, we've just spent the last 18 months in our garrisons in Warlords of Draenor. Any change of content, any new content is met with open arms and excitement. I myself are glad personally that Ian Hazzikostas has gone on record and defended his new product. One thing we saw at Gamescom when Legion was first announced was Tom Chilton overhyping the product. We were all excited for a brand new World of Warcraft expansion, but they have to be handled delicately, especially in today's market. We all know the handling of Warlords of Draenor was terrible, with cut content, overhyping, and just general nonsense when it should have been straight up shit and fact. I think that with the recent developer Q&A sessions that they've held on their Twitch channel, not including the one with Jesse Cox, which in my opinion was a massive marketing ploy, Ian Hazzikostas himself has stood up, he's defended his product against the influencers on YouTube and Twitch, because people have rallied against the whole class order hold system, the RNG PvP drops, all this sort of shit. Just calm your tits. Whatever we get is going to be better than Warlords of Draenor to begin with. So personally, seeing Ian Hazzikostas and the World of Warcraft team stand up and defend their product in the face of insurmountable odds. One of the other things I'm really excited about Legion for is, after having played the beta for quite a while now and trying out most classes, if not all of them, the amount of risks Blizzard are taking. We all knew when Blizzard was a risk-taking company, and Preach said the exact same thing in a video he made a while back. Legion is about risks. Legion is about not value, it's not about getting back what you put in, it's about taking risks. There are items that drop, there are reagents that you can gather, there is, these resources that you will find in the world. You'll have quests that are very long-winded but don't give you much reward, because it's about risk. Are you willing to take the risk of doing this quest, of harvesting this resource, of building this thing using your skill profession, but not getting back a reward you might be so interested in? That's number one. Secondly, the risks in terms of the class design. Every class is different and changed. That's a risk in itself. You're changing 36 classes that people have known for years, and you're completely changing them off the bat. People are going to be wandering in on the pre-patch, not having a fucking clue. I feel sorry for the guy who's playing a survival hunter in his mythic team, because the day he wakes up when the pre-patch comes up, he would have lost his fucking place, believe me. Now, this all seems a bit doom and gloom, but it's not if you think about it. The fact that Warlords of Draenor was a very safe expansion, very safe questing zones, very safe. The raids were great, but safe. They weren't too off the wall, they weren't too wacky, there wasn't any interesting mechanics thrown about. They were very, very safe. Blackrock Foundry remains one of my top 5 ever raids, but it was a safe raid. The quests were beautiful, the questing zones were beautiful. The voice acting that was there was fantastic, but it was very safe. There was nothing in Warlords of Draenor we hadn't seen before, and that's the primary difference between that and Legion. Legion is not a green and black, orky, everywhere sort of bullshit expansion. It's not some kind of timey-wimey, absolute nonsense reason for an expansion. We're going back to Azeroth, we're finding the Pillars of Creation, and we're fighting off the Burning Legion. Now, if you've read Chronicles, you'll understand why, but I'm not going to spoil that for anyone in this video. Class changes. My favourite class at the minute, the Windwalker Monk, is completely different to how it plays on Life. And although I've played a Monk for quite a while on Life, as a Brewmaster, I don't like the Brewmaster in Legion, and that's fair, that's fine. It plays differently. We're not a guard absorb tank. We're a low health mitigation tank, which doesn't really make much sense. But it works fine, I just don't like it. Windwalker, on the other hand, the class I entered Warlords of Draenor with, but I gave up ultimately to play the Brewmaster, plays like a fucking dream in Legion. But Windwalker is such a fine class to play. It's high skill ceiling, low skill floor. The way it plays is easy if you don't want to think about it, really difficult if you want to, and it can put out some insane DPS in the right circumstances, in all circumstances. That change to such a simple class has driven me into interest. I wasn't interested in playing a Windwalker during Warlords of Draenor, but the changes to it on Legion has made me want to play a Windwalker. And it's very rare do I hop from class to class to class with a good reason. There are classes that I'm not interested in whatsoever, of course. There's classes that you won't be interested in whatsoever. That's just the nature of the game. But please believe me and trust me when I say every class feels better, not just different, better than how it plays in Warlords of Draenor. We all know what happened at the end game of WoD when everyone had their mythic trinkets and numbers started getting a little bit out of hand. You still got the high damaging arcane mages and marksmanship hunters. They're still going to be in the game, but they play differently. And for the classes that had to do 120% of work to get 90% of the DPS, i.e. the Windwalker or maybe the Elemental Shaman, they feel great. I played a decent bit of Elemental Shaman with Storrow on stream the other day, and I fell in love with the class. Might be my go-to range DPS because it just feels great, sounds great, looks great. All the animations have changed, all the sound effects have changed. Your attacks feel meaty and chunky, and there's presence behind everything in the game now. Now, if you've followed my videos, my channel, my streams for quite a while, you'll know how much of a sucker I am for Mog. Me and Storrow often going out of our way, doing the most ridiculous and retarded quests for the simplest of Mogs. The transmog system's completely changed. Those of you who are used to Diablo 3 will be used to the system in World of Warcraft. It's a wardrobe system. You get an item, you unlock its appearance. You can bin the item. Every item you've got in your bank, your void storage, every quest you've ever done on every character, and their alternative items that you didn't pick up at the time are unlocked. It's so easy to create sets of transmog that suits your specialization. In my rogue video I showed you that I had 3 different transmogs for each different spec. You can set a transmog set, including weapons and enchants, per spec. So if you're playing a priest and you want an old god-inspired Pandaria, the Shah set from I think it's tier 16, you want that set for your Shadow Priest. You can have that, but when you swap into Holy, you want that sweet as fuck tier 19 Mythic that looks amazing on Priest. The second you swap over, it will change instantly. No questions asked, no qualms, no questions. You can save 20 sets, I think, which is more than enough for the best of us, and presumably we'll get more sets as time goes on, especially without a Mog coming in Legion, because there are a lot of new sets. Another good thing about Legion is the armor sets. There's 3D modelling on chest plates, on gloves, on legs, on feet. The design team must have been working overtime throughout the production of Legion, because every item that drops has got more 3D modelling on it. Belts are bigger, boots are bigger, they've got bells hanging off them, cogs, gears, chest pieces. The warrior chest pieces, a massive glowing orb Iron Man fucking thing in the centre. Never seen anything like that before in World of Warcraft. And yes, if some of you coming from Final Fantasy 17, from Blade and Soul, from Black Desert, this might be everyday thing to you. You might be used to having these amazingly 3D modelled armor sets. In World of Warcraft we're not. The game's fucking 12 years old, mind. There's a lot of shit in this game that still looks like it's 12 years old, but the design team have gone back and added things to old stuff. They've reshaped heads, they've reshaped hats, they've reshaped weapons to fit better with the new models. No more clipping for Worgen, no more clipping for Blood Elves. There's a lot of love, dedication, passion and time being poured into Legion, and admittedly there must have been some form of all that poured into Warlords of Draenor, but when they realised, fuck, Legion's coming up, we may as well just plug our efforts into Legion. Well, they have, and it's visible and it's seeable. I've got a level 110 Windwalker Monk, and I have enjoyed every fucking second, from the second I log in on that character to the second I log out. Every time I sit down and play that character, I enjoy myself. There's no garrisons. There's the class order hall. Do not even think about comparing the two, because I will go to town on your ass. They're two completely different separate things. One is an excuse for a Facebook game. The other plays like an RTS that is very hands-off. You log in on Warlords of Draenor in your garrison, you check your dailies, you check your missions, you check your shipyard, you check your resource huts, you get your resources, you auction house them, you wait around till raid night or for PvP, or you log back out. That's what I used to do. I didn't do anything in Warlords of Draenor anymore. I got my flying, I did my 10 and stuff, my odds. I had no reason to do it. In Legion, multiple reasons why you need to log on. You log on, you might be in Dalaran, you might be in your questing zone, you might even be in your class order hall. But if you're in a class order hall, you're probably only there to check your missions. And once you check them, you fuck off again, because the missions have got such a long time to go through, you're not always checking back with them. Now, Dalaran is back, and it moves, and it looks fucking gorgeous. For those of you who were playing during Wrath of the Lich King, you'll know what Dalaran looks like. And Dalaran is gorgeous. Dalaran is one of the best cities in the game, and it looks even fucking better. It's high fidelity. It's more populated. The shops have meaning. You know, there's interactions within the city itself. It's fantastic. It's a living, breathing city. It's how it should have been all that time ago. Demon Hunters are fucking amazing. They play like the most versatile class in the game. They're not rogue killers. They're not the new rogues. They're not the new monks. They're completely different. They're an entirely separate class. They play like they play like a hero class should. They're overpowered, yeah, they're strong. They'll get numbers changed before release. They feel different, you know, they've got a lot of movement, they've got double jump, they've got so many unique skills that aren't shared between other classes, and I think that's what makes them so intense, is the fact that they're so different from other classes. The raids, the dungeons, the instances all look fucking gorgeous. Every single class order hall looks gorgeous. Even the rogues who don't like the idea of the Dalaran sewers like Dalaran sewers. It's a great place. They've spent so much time on the class focus, making your monk feel like a monk, making your paladin feel like a paladin. It's really difficult not to get sucked in and immersed in the game when you log on. There's little quality of life updates that make everything so much better. Basically, remember the first time you played World of Warcraft and you thought, you know what this game could do? It could do with a blah blah blah. Well, it's got that shit now. It's got all the shit that it needs to make it the best MMO again, and it will be. And if it isn't, then I will be very disappointed, because Legion is, I think, the last chance for World of Warcraft. Everyone put their trust in Waters of Draenor, and if Legion fails to deliver, then I can see WoW not being discontinued, but not having the support it requires, because a living, breathing world like WoW, which is still the top 3-4 MMO going, needs development, and if there's not the numbers there, then it will lose it. But on the other hand, considering the Warcraft movie was such a success, considering the Hearthstone event was such a success a couple of months ago, we've seen new players joining every server. I logged onto my server, the Maelstrom, the other day on Horde EU, and I went into Valley of Strength, and I went into Valley of Trials, and I saw upwards of 30 to 40 new guys. Obviously it's a cross-realm zone, but I saw 30 to 40 new guys who didn't have titles, didn't have heirlooms. Now that says to me, either one, A, you're a fucking Chinese gold farmer, but why would you be doing quests? And B, you're a new player. So do you know what I did? I went to my bank, I took out 100,000 gold, and I went to every single one of those new guys and I gave them all 1,000 gold each to help them out, because I wish I had something like that when I started playing. And unfortunately I had some fucking stoner who told me to roll a Night Elf Rogue and stole all my gear. New players are coming to Legion, new blood, new raiders, new friends. Use this opportunity to build the raid team you want. Join a new guild. You know, there's a lot more support for guilds coming in Legion. The raids are fantastic. Raids are better now. The mechanics are more interactive. Every class has got a reason to be there. And if you're worried about playing a melee class in a melee heavy raid guild, don't worry at all. The raids are balanced for this. They designed every raid and dungeon encounter with bearing in mind there's what? 3 new melee classes, 2 new melee classes, the Survivor Hunter and the two Demon Hunter specs. These have all been bearing in mind. Every class, every instance has been designed with this in mind. So for those raid leaders and for those guild leaders and for those casuals, and maybe even you saying, I don't want to main my Rogue in Legion because of the amount of Demon Hunters they're going to be, I say fuck them. If you watched my last video, I told you to fuck them, because it's not going to affect you as such. You can always swap guilds. You know, nothing is going to affect your gameplay negatively if it comes from someone else. And in Legion, it's never been more prevalent. Have you ever been questing and you've seen a mob that you need for a fucking quest? I need to tag Big Dick McGeeba there because he drops some shitty item that I use for my quest, but he's 10 levels higher than me and it's a group quest. Well, do you know what? In Legion, you can run up to the big fucking stone giant and tag it while the Alliance are killing it, even if you're on a PvP realm, even if it's a questing mob, even if it's boars in fucking Valley of Trials. If you tag a mob and someone else kills it, as long as you're within the 5-person limit, you will get the experience from that, and you will get the resources it drops. They're making the game, yes, more casual friendly, and I hear that word bandied around so much. If you're in a mythic raiding team, and I'm going off tangent a little bit here to get this off my chest, if you're in a mythic raiding team, if you're realm top 25, and I've been there, I know what it's like, and you're annoyed at the casuals playing WoW, then maybe you should take a look at yourself, not the casuals, because ultimately, the casuals who pay their £10 a month, who maybe they spend all their time doing battle pets, maybe they've only ever done LFR, they're not in your mythic raids, they're not the ones holding your raids back. And I've had this experience a few times over the past few weeks where people that I know who are in mythic guilds have been complaining about how Legion caters for the casuals. It caters for everyone. You've got Mythic plus dungeons, which are very, very difficult. The Mythic raids in and of themselves, I've done a handful of them, are so difficult, it's going to take a fucking miracle to down some of these bosses on Mythic. So just stop blaming everyone else that WoW is dying when it's ultimately your changing opinion. You ain't that good. You ain't that great. No one else is. If you were that great, you'd be getting paid for it. Rant over. And with that rant over, I'd like to ask you, as a person, if you are hyped for Legion, or if you're interested in Legion, maybe you're new to WoW, maybe you're a returning player, avoid certain YouTubers who are known naysayers of the game. I'm talking Soda Poppin', I'm talking Heel vs Babyface. They're known naysayers. They've said more bad things than good. Not because they have a genuine point, but because they have so much influence. They say it for effect. And I think Ian Hazacostas went out of his way in a previous video to sort of put Az from Heel vs Babyface down when he was talking about the class order halls. They're not how you feel. And if you only spend 5 minutes with them, you're going to think the garrisons. For example, I'm using the class order hall as an example because that's the one everyone seems to dive on. Same goes for PvP. For the people complaining that PvP gear now comes out of loot boxes and is randomized, the answer I give you is, well, fucking tough, because PvP gear doesn't actually matter. And if you're that concerned about PvP gear, maybe you should read up on the maths. The maths go something like this. Everyone, when entering a PvP zone or entering a battleground or for whatever, has their gear normalized to about 800 eye level. Be that a Mythic Raider, be that a leveling character, be that someone in full PvP gear. Whether you win or lose, you gain a box containing PvP gear. Yet the stats on that are randomized, but there are less stats than before. There's more multi-strike, there's no spirit, so you'll gain stats that in general you'll need. For every piece of PvP gear you have, your total stats increase by, I think it's 0.3%, or is it 1%? So ultimately, someone in full PvP gear might be at a 10% advantage in comparison to you, bearing in mind that tier pieces don't work, trinkets don't work. So you're not farming for special trinkets from doing raids, coming into PvP and one-shotting people like Story used to. It's completely different. And for all the people complaining about that, you haven't done the reading, you haven't read up on things, you haven't done the maths. And it's not something that should be taken lightly. If you're a PvP player, and if you've enjoyed Legion, if you've enjoyed Warlords of Draenor's PvP, because some reason you were dropped on your head at birth, you shouldn't worry about Legion. Maybe, yeah, okay, it's not nice having your loot come out of RNG boxes. Welcome to raiding. You know, I can only say that it's kind of normalized now between PvP and PvE, the fact that both types of playstyles get their items randomized and depending on drops. I think it's nice because it felt so cheap at the end of Warlords of Draenor to farm honor in Ashran and buy the pieces you need. That felt cheap to me. I wasn't earning anything. I was spending 2 hours in Ashran AFK on follow and then trading in the fragments I got. But it's a good thing. Like I said, I'm here to hype you up about Legion, and I don't think I've done a very good job so far. But bear this in mind, Legion is going to be the expansion that WoW has always needed. It's the new Wrath of the Lich King. Whatever expansion is your favourite, it's that times 2. I used to love Pandaria. I'm the guy who thought Pandaria was the best expansion. It ain't. Legion is. Legion is the expansion WoW needs. Legion is the adrenaline shot the game needs. There's so much new shit. There's so much shit that should have been done years ago. It feels like a brand new game. The quality of life updates, the class updates, the animation updates, the music, the voiceovers, the class order halls. Your class feels like the class it should have felt years ago. And if you are still undecided about Legion, then use the PTR to your advantage. All the class changes are up on the PTR. Go on the PTR and use it. I'm not going to talk about battle pets because I fucking hate battle pets and they do not interest me in the slightest. Maybe if Storo starts making videos about them, maybe he can help you. Legion is the game we need. Legion is the game we need right now. We should have had it 8 months ago, but we've been stuck with Warlords of Draenor. And I'm in the same boat you are. I'm not talking as someone who has never played the game before. I've been playing the game for years. I've done my mythic raiding in Warlords of Draenor. I've got my curves, I've got my moose, and I'm still sat in my garrison day after day after day after day after day, logging in, doing the same shit, and leaving. So with that in mind, you've got hundreds of reasons to be hyped about Legion, and if you're not, I'm very sorry, but there's nothing I can do for you. My name has been Melvin, I've been doing more Legion coverage. Check out my channel. I'm out. Peace! And if you're interested in more Legion coverage, done by someone who used to be a hardcore raider but is now more of a casual player, maybe with more of the casual person in mind, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe on any of my videos and follow me on Twitch TV /bestmelvinew. I hope I see you again.